Today has just been this day of compounded, accentuated, energetic spinning. And there are so many things that I feel like I could point a finger to in an empathic way where it's sort of like a weird eddy, an energetic eddy that is near me, and it relates to me, but it's not mine. I'm on the outskirts just enough to not get pulled into the total epicenter. But that doesn't stop me from circling around, observing what it is, right? And the way I'm kind of liking it to is a vacuum, that swirling motion, the cyclonic conversion, like the eddy, and how when you're caught looking at all the debris circling around you, it makes you wonder how we got here. Because it doesn't seem organic, really, outside of the organic part of it happening that you're observing. So the wind is always going to blow, and things are going to blow in that wind. But when I look at what's caught up by the wind and what's blowing around, it's unnecessary bullshit, right? Think about the usefulness of the wind when picking up seeds and dispersing them across the land that grows fruit or plants or whatever. That happens naturally. We just make a lot of crap and then we throw it on the ground. It's just a greater allegory, I feel like, to a human malady where we need to refocus our priorities and look at the world and ask ourselves, what are we feeding into? What are we buying into that really is unnecessary? What kind of messes are we making in the world by this wrong priority when we could clean up certain things the way that we can with nothing more than our ingenuity in the moment, the willingness to take a look at things that we don't want to look at. Why does that come across as more of a risky behavior to people than the actual risky behavior that they may be participating with, in the sense of their wrong priority taking the strong foot forward, and that having a negative impact in the long run, or maybe even in the short run, like not looking both ways before you cross into traffic while carrying your child. If a car hits a person holding another person, is it the fault of the driver or the person running out into traffic? Good questions, right? Most people would just blame it on the vehicle because, a vehicle is bigger than a person. But if that person didn't look both ways before they crossed the street, they were engaging in risky behavior, and it wasn't just putting themselves to a risk if they're carrying a small child. What I'm feeling today in this cyclonic nature of turmoil is how unnecessary it is, and how the amplification of people's urgency and not looking at risk factors is putting themselves and other people even in a higher risk category. And if I'm watching this and I'm thinking this, I know I'm not the only one. So who does this serve in the greater sense of, I watched this place, this new fast food place, being built and stagnated on its opening by 4 months. I think it was supposed to be open in July, August, September, October, 3 months. So They didn't get it open when they said they would. It just was taking a long time. In my opinion, if you're, giving authorization to build businesses in cities, towns that are growing, you might want to assess the area and what's already happening in that area at the peak parts of the day to see if this is a feasible operation in the sense of lowering risk due to the compact nature of how places try and, pack things in. And one of my biggest problems with all places is their parking lot situation. Nobody was looking at that and really gauging it realistically, in my opinion. So this place that opened up has like 10 parking spots, but 5 are in front of the building and 5 are in the back. And so you probably think the 5 in the back are probably for the employees. And then they have 2 drive-throughs. And so people are just pulling off to the side of the road because their drive-through lines are over fucking 20 cars long. So, in my opinion, as a person observing, I'm like, why would you want to wait in a queue of 20 cars? What makes that worth it to you? It makes no sense, in my opinion. And then that it's in this area that is got other commerce happening, so people are using the parking lot at the grocery store or at the Taco John's right across the grass patch, because nobody wants to eat there today because this other place is new. I don't understand the priority. And the idea came up that there was probably some sort of promotion to get people in the door. Okay, fine. Most places do have promotions these days if they're opening to build that kind of, first hit. But at what risk, man? If you get something new, especially if it's a large chain, you can pretty much guarantee it's going to be there for quite a while. It's the small local businesses opened by independent people who probably don't have a lot of spare cash laying around and saved up for this sort of operation, which may or may not succeed. Those are the people that you see shutting down, months to a year or 2 after they've opened. Those are the people that need a big wellspring of line out the door. And granted, right, that doesn't always happen because, let's face it, not everybody's culinary dreams are a match made in heaven, depending on the demographic that lives in an area, which is sad but true. And, if people open a restaurant, they are looking probably to provide a certain type of cuisine, not to just go with the flow in the community. And here, gosh, what do we have a lot of? We have a lot of Mexican places, and we have a lot of burger joints or steak house type places, and Chinese food. Those are the primary, and pizza. Okay. That's probably true in a lot of places. Maybe not Southern California with the meat, but we're in beef country up here. So, to get cuisine, small, local, run, is incredibly difficult when it comes to, I don't know, if people are from here, their palate is kind of shallow, you might say. And not everybody is interested in trying new things. We had a delightful little Indian restaurant here for, I think, just under a year. And it was great. They had all the things I liked, but they didn't last. This is then also not just an issue of whether cuisine fits into a demographic, but also how good is your landlord if you're renting, a place where your business is established? And from what I can tell in my area, we must have a lot of really shitty landlord people because they don't seem to have retention in certain specific locations. And those certain locations have undergone certain renovations in order to accommodate the different kind of business that is filling the space. And renovating a space can cost a lot of money, and I just don't think that small business owner type people are very educated in long-term planning, because it's expensive. And if something fails, if you get secondhand equipment or even brand new equipment and something fails and it's not under warranty, if it's a necessary piece of equipment like a fridge or a freezer or an oven or something, that can just end your business overnight. I've seen that happen. One piece of equipment goes out and there wasn't enough savings to replace it, and so they had to shut their doors. It's very strange to see businesses operate that way and then just shut down in a place that desires some variety, I think. And I didn't even start out talking about this specifically in the sense that I think that we have too much stuff as it is, like specifically in the food where I live. And I don't think this is a big problem, or I think that this is probably the normal thing many places is we have a lot of fast food establishments. We have a lot of repetitious fast food establishments all throughout the town, right? I think the one that we have the most of is Subways. I feel like there's a crazy amount of Subway sandwich places for the size of this town, but it's probably just one of those foods that it's so easy to get, and they just slap the like pre-sliced meat, whatever, just on the bread. It's quick, it's easy, it's convenient. I get it, whatever. We don't have a lot of variety in the sense that we just really don't have a lot of variety. But almost any Midwestern kind of, staple fast food, big box chain restaurant, we got it. And I don't go to those places very often. When I did Geeks Who Drink, it felt so weird going to Old Chicago every week. Like, I had been to Old Chicago, I don't know, a couple of times with my family. It was always too loud, and I don't have to eat pizza like that, right? Like, going to those places is just not my thing. So when I'd go there, I was just really impressed with their beer selection that was rotating all the time. That was about all I had to offer. And I also felt like the demographic of people who hang out at Old Chicago and like it are not my kind of people. They're just not. It's just not a place I would choose to go unless maybe I lived in the neighborhood and it was a convenience factor. Also, I mean, it's along a very busy road with like a Chili's, an Applebee's. I wouldn't go to those places either. An Olive Garden, a Red Lobster. All these big name places are scattered through with Wendy's, McDonald's, Chipotle, friggin', I don't know, that place with fast food Chinese food. Something Panda Express, maybe that's it. Um, I don't want anything along that row. There's like one pub that is a local owned pub there, and even it's kind of weird. You know, it wouldn't be my first option unless I was in the neighborhood and that was like my neighborhood pub. And I feel that way about the pubs in my neighborhood where I'm like, the only reason I come here is because it's next to where I live. I don't feel a certain vibe with the people who go in and out of there. And just like we're getting another fast food chicken place when there's the whole neighborhood already smells like chicken because the grocery store is across the street and it just pots out the smell of chicken throughout the day. And then you've got like the taco place next to them, and they've got various types of chicken entrees. And less than half a mile away, maybe a mile, you've got a Chick-fil-A. So you've got competing types of regional chicken. Less than half mile or a mile away, you've got a McDonald's, which has its variety of chicken. You've got a Sherry's that has, like, if you want to pay for a meal, you know, that isn't fast food. What other chicken in the neighborhood? Yeah, I don't know. It feels like a weird program to make people be into. Also interesting is this fast food place does not offer breakfast, which has been the big thing recently where, oh gosh, everybody's got to get into the breakfast game. This place doesn't offer breakfast, so they don't open until like 10:30 in the morning, which sounds pretty chill for the people who work there, but at what point are they going to just be like, oh no, actually we have to get into the breakfast game because everybody else does? Which is going to create a new surge of weird traffic. And specifically because if this is a destination and we don't have them all over town, people will drive across town to get this fucking chicken. It's so tiresome to be in my brain sometimes. And today definitely felt like one of those days. What you're listening to in the background is me figuring out that my hands can make noises. Yeah, like I hadn't heard of clapping before, or like trying to find a repetitious pattern through clapping. It felt good. I was having a sort of very tactile experience with myself in the sense that I was like, it started out with a stressful hand washing kind of movement, and then it amplified into this weird clapping with whatever. I don't know. I ended up feeling like I was a washer, like a hand washing maid. This is considered meditation in my mind, where it's like, okay, well, I'm finding a physical representation for how my brain is feeling, and this feels nice. I like it. Then I share it with you. Let's just wash our hands right up on that. All right, this is all I'm doing for now. I'm glad I got the rant out of me. I did it on Twitter. I've now done it here. I talked to somebody about it. Third time's a charm. Let's hope tomorrow feels less like a trash bag experience in the whole realm of humanity. Because it seems like tonight there's going to be a weird amplification. I'm prepared for it. I just want to sleep well and not feel like it's even worse tomorrow. But I have low expectations, so nothing will surprise me. People.